Good afternoon, everybody. It's time to lay the week, so I thought you might like to come along for the ride. I'm going to be laying this week with a little bit of a mixture of some Coffee Monsters Co. washi. I'm going to do Mountains and Meadows 2.0 with the little sprouts. This is 15 millimeters. This is 10 millimeters. And I'm going to pair that with some of these quilted stickers from Quilt Atelier, which is from Mindwave. I used these in one of my 2-day spreads earlier this week and I really liked it. And I also picked up these Yuru logs from Midori, and there's a couple on there that I could also see using. So I'm gonna keep those handy. I might decide to do that. I really think that the Mountains and Meadows and Little Sprouts washies will pair nicely with these quilted Atelier stickers. They have such an interesting texture, and they've also got a little bit of foil work in them, which I think is really nice. The tones are not quite autumn vibe, and by not quite, I mean not at all, but I've been doing a lot of autumn vibe lately between October and November, so this week I've been really feeling the need to kind of tone that down a little bit, and so we're going with some more fresh colors. Hope you don't mind. These little sprout emojis are gonna go very well at the top of this page. These 10 millimeter washies fit perfectly in this little section on the Hobonichi weeks page underneath the date above the time blocks. On the left hand side, I'm going to do my key. So we will do life, salon, school, flourish and plan, pay attention. Let's see how well I do with some lettering this week. And the color palettes are pretty diverse. There was a couple of different ones to choose from. I got the vintage one and the bright one, and I believe the pastel one. There was 3 altogether. I got all 3. And between those 3, they've got a lot to offer. The brush tips are very nice. For me, they are the perfect medium. I find with the Fudenoskis, the soft tips are too soft and the hard tips in some circumstances can be too hard. That experience could entirely be user specific because I am, as you know, a novice at all of this stuff. We're learning together. So I imagine that as I get used to lettering, things will get a little easier. For example, this Fudenoski is the gray tone, and it's, I believe, a soft tip. Yes, it is a soft tip. And I didn't do too shabby there. So progress, not perfection, right? All right, so I've got my washi, I've got my key. Let's throw down some of these really pretty Quilt Atelier. I used this in a 2-day spread. You'll recognize some of them from earlier in the week. And I love the texture of these. They're embossed so that they look and feel quilted. And then there's also some really pretty gold foil design on all of them, it looks like. And I thought it would look really pretty with this Mountains and Meadows and Little Sprouts washies. I know for sure that I work late on Wednesday, so I'm gonna keep things off this column. I know for sure the other days that I work are more towards the center of the day. I don't have much planned on Sunday or in the evenings on those days, so I've got some room to put some deco down here, and I've also got this little section over here. So I'm gonna put some of the larger stickers in those spots and then hold on placing some of the smaller stickers and I might put some of those in between the other areas. Again, I'm trying to edit, so I'm not gonna put every single thing down here. This has been a struggle, I'm not too proud to admit. Editing is not my forte. I see all of the pretty things and I want to use all of the pretty things. I don't know how many of you run into that as well, but I love them and I want to use them. I don't see the point in having these things and not using them, so. All right, so as always, I like to lay down, excuse my reach, I like to lay down some of the static appointments that don't stand as much chance of changing. In ink pen. For a lot of this, I use tiny icons. Sometimes I'll also use some of the other larger doodle emojis. I really gotta get my stash organized. I feel like I've got tiny icons and sticker sheets all over the place because sometimes I'm laying stickers at home, sometimes I'm laying stickers at work, sometimes I'm laying stickers in my office, sometimes in the living room. It's tricky. I don't know if you guys can hear the wind outside, but we have taken a turn with the weather here in the deep south. We had I think it was a 20 or 25 point drop in the temperature over the last couple of days. We are down in the low 30s today. So I really enjoy winter weather, so I have been out there eating it up, really packing on the miles in this cold weather. My husband thinks that it's hysterical that I say I love cold weather because when you see me outside in the cold weather, I am really bundled up, but that's because I grew up in Chicago and we know how to dress for the winter weather in Chicago so that we can enjoy ourselves outdoors. So I may look like the Michelin Man. You may not be able to see too many of my features, but rest assured, I'm enjoying myself out there. I'm running into the same problem I ran into last week. I filed my nails down and I have nothing to grab a sticker with, so let's bust out the old tweezers. I find it easiest if you fold the sticker sheet back and you get a little bit of it to pop up and you can grab it with your tweezer and place it pretty easily. It really helps to have some fingernails for these layout videos, but I also am a hairdresser and nobody wants to get their scalp scraped with fingernails, so I keep them pretty short because I give a really good scalp massage for my clients at the shampoo bowl, if I do say so myself. All right. In my Kaweco Art Sport Terrazzo with my extra fine nib, I have Teranishi Guitar Traveling Sepia ink. I'm going to use this and also my Pilot Custom 74 in the Lavender Fog with the soft fine nib. And I've got Diamine's 160th anniversary Canal Side ink in there. Between the brown and the green, I thought it would go really well. I have to constantly remind myself, slow down so that your writing is legible. I get to be in such a hurry. I want to not only get these laid, but I also want to not have these videos be 20 minutes or longer like my previous earlier videos have been. So I'm trying to find a happy medium. I've also been experimenting with editing. I don't know how many of you have noticed that, but I'm making progress. I am making progress. Progress, not perfection. I just realized that I did blue for school events and not purple. What to do, what to do. I'll use this cream tape whipper. This is the 4mm. I'm going to swap-a-rooney these colors. Instead of redoing all of those, I'm going to change this, and we're going to make the blue school events and the purple salon events. And now, because I have used the correction tape, I can't use the Hobonichi over top of that. I'll have to use pen. So this is going to be the least of all evils. All right, so the blue is now school. And now purple will be salon. That is using the least amount of correction tape possible. And these are out of order in which I would normally have them, but it looks the cleanest this way. Handling mistakes is just something that, you know, it's got to be done. And that's a good way to do it, I think. All right, so the Hobonichi would have not adhered well to that correction tape. I don't know if it will, the right pens will adhere to that. And instead of experimenting and trying, I'm just gonna drop my icon without any color. I feel like, again, it's the least of all evils. I'm trying to have this look as nice as possible. I was supposed to have a therapy appointment today, but at the last minute it got rescheduled. I'm hoping that it goes tomorrow, but I have not heard back from my counselor yet. So I'm going to put this on one of these sticky notes instead of having something more permanent. I think that it will be tomorrow, right in here. But these sticky notes, just like any other sticky note, you can pull it up. So this is not permanent until I want it to be. And I'll just put my little therapy sticker on there, and I'll know that that's what that is. Usually I turn the camera off while I fill this out, but I'm just going to speed this up so you guys can still see how I'm doing all of this. I want to just point out the incredible design, the thoughtful, intelligent design that Helen puts into her products. This is the metal Emoti ruler. Not only is it on the firm side, which gives it a thicker wall to write up against, but it also includes these cutouts so that you can do bullet journaling or stenciling, and the spacing on this is absolutely perfect. Let me just get another one down here and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Some of my appointments at work are on the long side. And just like Helen does, if I've got an appointment that is longer than an hour, I block it off with a line. This particular appointment will be finished at 5 o'clock. So from 1500 to 1700, I've got a 2-hour client. And if you line up the inside edge of this long rectangular box with the solid line on the day's time, when you draw a line down, you can clearly see what time you're drawing to. When you draw a line down on the right side of the box, you're perfectly spaced. No more guessing. That is thoughtful, intelligent design. You will find examples of that absolutely littered throughout her entire product line. I cannot speak highly enough about the design for these products. Here's another example of that. This next client goes from 5 to 7:15. So from 1700 to just after the 1900. Now on Hobonichi time blocks, they don't do down to the 15-minute mark. They do on the hour and the half hour. So I have to kind of fudge this a little bit. But watch, I've got the top of this window lined up with the 17, the left edge lined up with this solid line. So I know I'm going to bring this line just past the 19. That tells me that I'm past 7 p.m. just by a little bit. So I know on the top of my head about how long I'm going to be there at the salon. All right, that is the work week. She offers a couple of different sizes. This one is for the Hobonichi Cousin Dividers Weekly. And if you'll notice, this is perfectly sized to stretch across this entire 4-day spread. And these shorter ones are perfectly sized to go across this side. But my work week spans the two, so I will also use the Hobonichi Cousin Dividers that are sized for the day. Those can go across there, or you can use them on a blank page to go across this section here. So what I will do is I will lay these transparent tapes at the top and bottom of the day to indicate when I start and when I finish. And for me, it does not have to go across the entire day as long as it covers a chunk of it. For me, in my head, I know I stop at that time. So even though it's not going across the whole thing, for me it works. And I keep some of these in the front pocket that I made out of the Coffee Monsters coat vellum. Something else I've been trying to do is use a shiny sticker like a star or a smiley face back in the daily section. When something good happens, trying to remember who this was in the group. Is it Shelly Keenan that posts glimmers of the day? I'm just trying to be more mindful and live in the moment. So when something positive happens on a daily spread, I'll pop one of those stickers and just make a little note so that I'm more grateful and living in the present moment a little bit more than I used to. All right, so that is the schedule laid. Now, what I do with this information is every day I go in and create my work and life to-do lists. I will pull data from this list, from my digital calendars that I keep, and from the previous day's to-do lists. Anything that did not carry over, or did not get completed gets carried over into the new list. Once I've got this brain dump pulled from those various sources, I will then chronologize, if I could make up a word, that into the most important tasks in order that I need to do them, and I put that in my work planner. I'll show that in a separate video in my Me Plus A5. But for now, let's see. Can I use any more of these stickers just to get rid of the sheet without it looking too cluttered? I know this is going to be shocking, guys. I'm going to say no. I'm going to leave it like it is. How's that for editing oneself? All right, so that is this week done. If you've enjoyed this video, would you mind liking and interacting with it, either with a question or a comment, and maybe even consider subscribing to my channel? I'm really trying to get the word out about this project that I've been working on, so any help that you can give would be amazingly appreciated. And as always, take care of yourself and take care of each other. Have a great day, guys.